The concepts covered are organisms and the surroundings where they live, habitat and adaptation, a journey through different habitats, characteristics of organisms. Different regions in the world have various types of living creatures called organisms. Even the openings of volcanoes have tiny living organisms. Even our homes are not devoid of these tiny organisms. List some of the tiny organisms which you have encountered at home. Environment, everything that we see surrounding us, living, non-living, physical, chemical etc. is called as environment. Biotic components, these are the living components of the ecosystem. Example, flora and fauna. Abiotic components, the non-living components of the ecosystem like soil, water, air etc. are called abiotic components. Organisms and the surroundings where they live. The table shows some common organisms and their place to live. Habitat and adaptation. The region or place where an organism lives is termed as its habitat. Habitat provides an organism everything it needs to survive like food, shelter, proper weather conditions such as rainfall, heat etc. to breed and flourish. Adaptation of camels. They live in desert and live without water for a long time. Long legs of camels help them to keep their bodies away from desert. Camels excrete small amount of urine and lose little water from their body, and thus they are adapted to live in desert for many days without water. Adaptation of fishes. Fishes inside water have streamlined shaped body and have slippery scales to move inside water and protect themselves. Fishes have fins and tails to keep balance in water. They also have gills to use oxygen dissolved in water, which help them to live inside water for years. A journey through different habitats. Terrestrial habitat. A. Deserts. The following adaptations of various organisms are enlisted below. Snakes and rats dig burrows to escape intense heat as they don't have long legs such as a camel. These animals come out only during the night, when it is cooler. In desert, plants' leaves are reduced to spines and lose little water through transpiration. The stems of desert plants have a waxy coating on them, and in most of them photosynthesis is carried out by the stem. Their roots go deep into the soil so as to absorb water. The leaves in desert plants are absent to prevent loss of water due to transpiration. Some of the animals are camels, kangaroo rats etc. B. Mountain regions. The trees are cone-shaped with slope-like branches, also needle-like leaves are present so that rain and snow slide off them easily. Animals have thick fur which provides protection from cold. For example, snow leopard. Presence of strong hooves help the mountain goat to run on the rocky slopes. Pines, mountain goats, yaks, sheep etc. Yaks have long hair to keep them warm. Figure 3. A tree found in mountain region. C. Grasslands. The light brown color of the lion helps it to hide in dry grasslands, and the presence of long claws help to capture the prey. Deer has strong teeth to eat plant stems, also its long ears help to listen to predator movement. They have eyes on its sides of the head which help them to look in all directions to look out for danger. Some of the animals living in these habitats are elephants, giraffes, lions. D. Rainforest. This habitat receives a lot of rain and hence it's rich in animal life. Mammals, amphibians, reptiles, all sorts of animals are found here. The climate is hot and humid and animals have to learn to adapt to survive. E. Polar habitat. These habitats are very cold and windy. The animals are mostly carnivores and have thick fur to survive in cold. Some blend in ice and some may hibernate in the coldest months. Examples of animals are polar bears, reindeers, penguins etc. Some aquatic habitat. Marine habitat. Marine habitat comprises of oceans and seas, and both have salt water. They are home to a wide variety of creatures, like the most part of fish population is found here. Marine creatures are found in estuaries, where rivers and oceans meet and the water is salt. Marine mammals like whales migrate to long distances in order to cope up with the temperature changes. Organisms in oceans. Most organisms have streamlined bodies and gills. Octopuses do not have streamlined bodies, so they stay deep in ocean, but when moving they make a streamlined motion. Whales have blowholes instead of gills. This enables them to breathe easily when they swim near the surface of water. Octopus. Organisms in freshwater habitat. Rivers, lakes, ponds etc. comprise the freshwater habitats. 3% of world's water is accounted as freshwater, but still a wide variety of species are found here. Snails, worms, mollusks etc. are found in this habitat. Ponds and lakes. Plants. Water plants can be completely submerged in water, like hydrilla, or floating on the surface of water, like water lily, lotus, water hyacinth. Roots are much reduced in size, since their main function is to hold the plant in place. Stems of aquatic plants are long, hollow and light so that these can bend in along with water movement. Example, water lily. The stems grow up to surface of water, while the leaves and flowers float on surface of water. Totally submerged plants have narrow and ribbon-like leaves, tape grass. These can bend in flowing water. Stems have air spaces to enable the plant to float. Floating plants are large and flat. They have waxy upper surfaces that makes them waterproof. They have stomata on the upper surfaces which are exposed to air. Frogs are adapted to live both on land and water. They have strong back and legs and webbed feet which allows them to swim in water. Coastal habitat. Habitats where the land meets the sea. Beaches, special type of trees called mangroves are found in this habitat. Coastal plants like seaweed attach to the rocks firmly so that they are not swayed by the waves. Acclimatization. Due to certain changes in the surroundings, organisms adapt through them by making small changes in the body over short periods of time. Example, the changes which take place in the body when we travel from plains to mountains. The adjustment which the body makes is called acclimatization. Characteristics of living organisms. Living beings different from non-living things. Certain criteria can differentiate living beings from non-living things. Need of food. Like all animals, plants also need food for growth and development, which they prepare by photosynthesis. But non-living things do not grow and thus do not need food. Plants prepare food by photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight. Growth. All living beings grow and show different stages of growth. Young ones of animals grow into adults. For example, pups of a dog grow into adults, chicken from a hatched egg grows into a hen or a cock. Young ones of a hen grow into adult. Respiration. The process of breathing oxygen and using by the body to obtain energy and releasing carbon dioxide produced in this process is called respiration. Breathing is a part of respiration. Different organisms use different ways to exchange gases. For example, earthworms breathe through air, fishes through gills, plants by the tiny pores present in the leaves. In sunlight, plants take carbon dioxide to produce food and release oxygen. This process is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis in plants take place only during daytime, but respiration takes place day and night. Non-living things do not breathe and hence do not respire. Breathing and respiration of a sea animal. Response to stimulus. Any change in the external environment is called stimuli, and reaction of organisms against the stimulus is called response. Examples: shutdown of eyes in bright light, running away of wild animals in response to bright light, blooming of plants only after sunset, folding of touch me not plants when touched. But non-living things do not show any response against stimulus. Blooming of plants at night. All living organisms excrete. Digestion of food takes place inside the body and used by the cells, but undigested food remains as waste. The process of removal of waste from the body is called excretion. Excretion is shown by all plants and animals. Some plants can store the waste as harmless products, and some plants use the method of secretion to excrete the waste. Reproduction. The process of giving rise to the young ones is called reproduction. Some animals produce young ones through eggs and some give birth. Some plants reproduce from seed which germinates and grow into a new plant. Some plants reproduce through other parts of the plant body. For example, a part of a potato with bud can give rise to a new plant. Some plants reproduce through cuttings in the plant body. All non-living things are man-made and thus cannot give rise to the new one. Movement. All living beings can move from one place to another except plants. Plants cannot move from one place to another because these are anchored in soil by roots, But minerals, water and foods present in the plant move from one part to other parts of the plant. Closing and opening of flowers of a plant is another phenomenon which shows that plants can move. Running of a cat, flying of birds show movement of living beings. Bus, clocks, clouds can also move, but these do not show other characteristics of living beings, so these are non-living. Non-living things. A mung seed can stay in a shop for months but do not show characteristics of life. After planting and watering it turns into a whole plant. This shows that in some cases a thing has all characteristics of living being, but we cannot easily say it living. Dipping hand inside a sack of wheat gives a feeling of heat production which is due to respiration, but other criteria to become a living being are not found. Cloud shows movement and also grows in size, but other features to become a living being are absent. Deciding living or non-living is really difficult, but seeing at the diversities of life it can be concluded that life is beautiful.